Louie T. Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 6 in the National Football League. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans, AFC South family business. Here's a matchup where I said to myself, last year, Jags able to get off the schneid in Tennessee versus these Titans. A lot of people buying that hype. I'm not one of them. I don't think the Tennessee Titans are going to allow the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are once again winless on this season, coming into Tennessee to get a victory. I don't see them doing that this season. It happened last year. I don't see it happening again. I wasn't buying the hype. And I said that this was going to be Statement Sunday in the National Football League because of all of the things that I saw around the league. I felt like every game had a statement in it. And I'll tell you what this statement was in this game at the conclusion of this wrap-up. But let's jump into Jags Titans in week number 6. 59-yard hookup from Blake B to Clay Harbor down inside the Titans' 10-yard line. Then a pass interference penalty in the end zone leads to a Storm Johnson 1-yard rushing touchdown. Jacksonville jumps out on top, 7-0. I was unfazed by this touchdown. I didn't think much of it. I said, okay, Jacksonville. The one thing, though, that scared me a bit with this touchdown was the simple fact that you're giving Jacksonville something you don't need to give them on the road. Confidence. Don't let them hang around. Don't let them hang around because that's what the Steelers did last week, and that's how the Steelers almost lost that football game. Don't let them hang around. If you are a smart football team, you'll beat these guys up early, take the confidence away. They'll start saying to themselves, here we go again. You got them right where you want them. But this is family business. It never goes the way that it's supposed to. Ask the San Diego Chargers, who struggled in week 6 with a fellow family member who was also winless on the season. It happens. It's family business. All bets are off. Records, throw them out of the window. They don't matter. It's family business. So I expected the Jags to show up and try to steal one. But I expected the Titans to swing them and block them away like the Kimbe Mutombo and wag the finger at them. No, 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 no. Not in my house. And so 10-play, 68-yard drive for the Titans leads to a field goal as 4 different receivers are hit with the football by Charlie White Shoes. 7-3, Titans are on the board in this football game. We head to the second quarter. After a 38-yard Jay Hunter catch, Charlie White Shoes misses a wide open Delaney Walker. That might have went for 6. He was going up the seam, wide open, overshoots him by about 3 yards, and he had about 2 full steps on the nearest defender. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to catch that and run away from the defender and get in the end zone. As good as a football as Delaney Walker was playing and has been playing all season long, I don't know if he doesn't catch that and get in the end zone. And those are the type of throws that you miss when you don't have a good quarterback. When you've got a good quarterback, that's 7 right there. But when you got Charlie White Shoes, when you got Jake Locker as your starting quarterback, those are the ones that you look back on and say, we should have scored a touchdown right there. But you don't because your quarterback isn't good enough to get the football. And the good ones in this league don't miss open receivers. You get a shot down the field to make a big play. The good ones, the great ones in this league, they don't miss. 9 times out of 10, they hit the open guy. And 7 times out of 10, they hit the guy that's covered, that has a defender draped all over him. They hit that guy too. So that's where the separation is at the quarterback position in this league. And Charlie White Shoes showed you on that particular play why he's a backup quarterback in this league. And then there's an intentional grounding on the next play, which is going to force the Tennessee Titans to have to punt the football as Charlie White Shoes was about to be sacked on the play. And this is what bad teams do right here. And this is a head coaching snafu. And you see the bad teams do it all the time. Myself being a Redskins fan, I've watched Jay Gruden challenge about 3 or 4 plays where I ask myself, why are you challenging this play? First of all, you're slowing up the game. Second of all, you're wasting a timeout. And third of all, and most importantly, you're wasting a challenge. You only get 2 of these things, especially if you don't get one right, you only get 2. If you get both of them right, you get a third. Why are you wasting a challenge on a play that is clearly the way that it was called on the field? It'd be one thing if it's close and you're like, need to challenge. It's too big of a play not to. I get it. But this is what bad teams do. And here's Gus Bradley Clearly, it's intentional grounding. I don't know who got in his ear and told him, hey, man, that's a fumble. Nowhere near a fumble. The arm clearly going forward. You could tell he was trying to get rid of the football because he was about to take a sack. There was no way this was a fumble. And yet, Gus Bradley decides to challenge. And even though this didn't have a huge bearing on the outcome of the football game, it's just senseless. And that's what bad teams do. You cannot challenge that play because, again, you don't know what's going to happen later on in the game that prompts you to have to use your second and final challenge. And then you don't know what's going to happen thereafter. Keep in mind, we're only in the first half, second quarter. You don't know if 2 possessions later in the second quarter, you got to use your second challenge. You don't have any more. And something huge happens in the second half, but you can't challenge because you wasted a challenge in the second quarter. You got to think about those type of things. Bad challenge there by Gus Bradley. Nonetheless, Delanie Walker, they get the football back to the Titans. And it's a 37-yard catch and run by Delanie Walker, which keys a touchdown drive as Jackie Battle gets in from 1 yard out right before the half. And it's 10-7 Titans on top as we head to the halftime break. Bishop Sankey dominates this drive for the Titans as we come into the third quarter and the Titans are looking to kind of run away from this Jaguars team. They're hanging on. They're like a little brother just clinging on. Can I go? Can I go? No, you can't go. You need to stay at home. Get off of me. They're clinging on to this Tennessee Titans team. Tennessee trying to run away from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Bishop Sankey doing all he can to ensure that they do. And he has a career high 22-yard run on this possession. He was doing the heavy load and the heavy carrying and the bulk of the load on this drive. He caught passes. He ran the football. Just talked about the aforementioned 22-yard game, which is a career high for him. They get all the way down the field, but they still have to settle for a 21-yard field goal by Ryan Succop. It's 13-7. And again, if you're the Titans, score a touchdown. A 21-yard field goal means you got down to the 3-yard line and had to settle for a field goal. That can't happen against the Jacksonville Jaguars because what you're doing is you're allowing them to loiter. They're loitering. They're hanging around. Hey, what you doing, Jacksonville? I'm just chilling, man. I'm hanging around. They're hanging around the game. Put them away. Put these boys out of their misery. You let them hang around. You give them a chance to feel like they can win this game. That's what they're going to end up doing. Tennessee not doing a good job of putting a bad football team away. It's now 13-7. Bleeding Wade Wilson with a pick of Blake B as the Jags were in field goal range. This was the same bugaboo for the Jaguars a week ago as last week against the Steelers. Blake B turned it over a couple of times in the red zone, stopping them from putting up points against the Steelers. He did the exact same thing. And this is what you get from young quarterbacks. Rookie quarterbacks are going to make bad mistakes. It's what they do. It's part of the growing pains that you go through in the National Football League. And so it doesn't come as any surprise. It doesn't make it any less hurtful, though, as Bleeding Wade Wilson able to get the pick and take points off the scoreboard for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The score remains 13-7 as we head to the fourth quarter. Off the interception, Charlie Whiteshoes finds Jay Hunter for a solid game, sets up a 42-yard Ryan Succop field goal. It's now 16-7. Jags up on, or excuse me, Titans up on top in this game. But again, I've got this uneasy feeling that you're not doing enough to put this football game away. Titans not separating themselves from the Jags, and the Jags are still loitering in this football game. CS3 is stripped of the football, and Cecil Shorts III had a great game, but this blunder right here, again, this is what bad football teams do. You're driving down the field looking for some points. Anything helps. A field goal cuts it to a 6-point game, and a touchdown wins you the football game. A touchdown cuts it to a 2-point game with the extra point, and you're only down by 2. A field goal wins you the game. So at this point, you're at the 30-yard line, going down the field looking for points, and CS3 puts it on the carpet. And the Jags, once again, were in scoring range, in field goal range for Josh Scobie. Get nothing as the Titans force another turnover in Titans territory. So huge play, stripped by McCourty on the play, recovered by the rookie Williamson. And so just like that, Jags come up with nothing. Another empty possession deep in Titans territory. And the Jags, of course, I told you, if you allow them to hang around, you allow them to loiter, they're going to make it interesting. Jags score a late touchdown as Clay Harbor gets in the end zone with 37 seconds left in this ball game. And at this point, of course, I didn't watch this live, but I'm looking at the bottom line and I'm seeing what's transpiring. I don't know about you. If I'm a Titans fan at this point, I'm going, oh, what in the world is going on? You've got to be thinking, as a Titans fan, at this point, you've got to be thinking to yourself, we're about to lose this damn game. We are going to lose this. We're going to find some way to botch this and lose this football game. I know I personally was sitting. I said to myself, and this is the only thing I said as I saw that the Jags had cut it to 2 with 37 seconds left. This is the only thing I said as I looked out at the bottom of the screen, saw the score flash by, and I kept it moving. I didn't pay much attention to it. I just said, hey, Titans better get that onside kick. That's all I said. I didn't say another word. I went back to watching the game that I was watching. I said, Titans better get that onside kick. And I moved on. And I said, hey, onside kicks, they rarely work in this league. So I expect the Titans to get that, sit on it, game over. And what I got was a game break into the game that I was watching that showed me how the Titans were able to hold on 16-14. Strange set of events. First of all, Titans don't recover the onside kick. They touch it before it even goes 10 yards. And then they don't recover it, which allows the Jags the opportunity to get on the football, and they do. Then Blake B, with no timeouts, gets 2 easy completions, able to down the football and get into field goal range for Josh Scobie. Now, it's a 55-yarder, but and look, you're an AFC South opponent. This is all family. You know what Josh Scobie is capable of. You've seen him beat the Indianapolis Colts with a 60-yarder as time expired. So you must have known at this point that if you don't block this kick, Josh Scobie is going to knock this home. I knew in my mind, if you didn't block this kick, even though I already knew what was about to happen, I said to myself, if they don't block this kick, Josh Scobie is knocking this home. And you knew it too. And you can't tell me as a Titans fan out there that you didn't say, oh my God, we just lost this goddamn game. After winning the entire game from the point where we scored that touchdown right before the half to take a 10-7 lead, from leading the entire game and dominating all of the second half, we just lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars for the second time in a row at home when they were winners. No, we did not just do that. No, we didn't. And you didn't. As you're able to block the field goal off the edge, thank goodness, because again, I'm telling you right now, Josh Scobie would have nailed that field goal. Now, I will say this. I thought that the Jags could have run one more play, maybe, but it doesn't matter. The trajectory of the kick came out kind of low, but it was 55 yards. What did you expect? And you were able to block it. Sammy Lee Hill was able to get his hands on the football. And, man, luckily enough for you that you were able to deflect that because he was going to hammer that football home. And if he loses that, if you lose this football game, you're done. Your season is over. But instead, on Statement Sunday, the Titans simply make this statement. Stick their hand through the dirt. We're not dead yet. Don't count us out. This AFC South is not the strongest division in the world. Hey, stick your hand up through the dirt, Tennessee. I'm not dead yet. With a Week 7 showdown at Washington, who is 1-5 on the season, why can't you go into Washington and come out with a W and look up at the standings and say, hey, we're one game under 500 at 3-4 on the season? It could happen. And so this game right here on Statement Sunday simply says this from the Titans. Hey, we're not dead yet. Our season is not over. And if Jake Locker is able to come back, which I expect him to play in week number 7 versus Redskins, if he can come back, this Redskins team isn't any good. Why can't the Titans go on the road and get another W and climb back even closer to 500 on the season? If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, what more can I say? It's not much more to say other than you keep finding yourself in these positions with a chance to win, and you don't know how to win yet. And it starts from the head coach all the way down. You just don't have a winning program yet. And you got Blake B at the quarterback position. Another solid day for him. But the turnover in the red zone, that was a killer. Then the turnover by Cecil Shorts III, that was a killer. You can't have those type of mistakes. You literally had one timeout left in this football game with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That can't happen. That's what bad football teams do. You have some things to clean up. You'll get one eventually, but it's going to be tough. This was one that you had. You let it slip through your fingers. If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you go back to the drawing board and see when you can find a way to get yourself a W. But that's going to do it for Jags and Titans. I thank you for joining me here on the program. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as week number 6 is just getting underway here in the National Football League. I got plenty more games to break down. Come back and join me in a bit. Like the content? Want more? Sub up.